Well, welcome everybody and good afternoon, and thank you for joining us here today. I'm Mayor Kirk Watson, and I'm joined today by Travis County Judge Andy Brown, as well as emergency management officials from both the City of Austin and Travis County, from the Capital Area Councils of Government and several other agencies and various city departments, uh, different groups that have all been very heavily involved in planning for the total eclipse happening on April 8th, next Monday. This is a rare and exciting occurrence, and as I'm sure everybody knows by now, here in Central Texas, we're very fortunate and lucky to be in the path of totality, meaning we get a front row seat and the best view of this wonderful historic event. By the way, Judge Brown and I typically divide up duties. I was responsible for the weather today. He's responsible for the weather on the day of the eclipse. So that's who you call if it doesn't work out exactly the way we're hoping. Anyway, what makes this historic? Let's talk about that a second. There won't be another total solar eclipse visible in the United States until 2044. There will not be another total eclipse visible from this area until the year 2343, which is over 300 years from now. The last total solar eclipse visible from Central Texas was in the year 1397. That was the year I was first elected mayor. Actually, you can tell we are not exaggerating in any way when we say this is really a once-in-a-lifetime event for Central Texas. Our community has a chance to really view something spectacular, and we want everyone to do that safely, to prioritize their well-being, and to know how to prepare. And that's why we have all these folks gathered here today to talk about what to expect and how to experience this event in a way that's smart, safe, and enjoyable for everyone. So with that, I'll invite my partner, County Judge Andy Brown, up here to say a few words. Judge?
Hey y'all, how's it going? I'm Travis County Judge Andy Brown, and today we're here to provide an overview of the preparedness efforts across Travis County, in the City of Austin, in the small cities and the other jurisdictions to support the many visitors that we're hoping and expecting to see in Central Texas for the April 8th total solar eclipse. It's a once-in-a-lifetime event, marking the first solar eclipse in the heart of Texas in 600 years. I think I read in the Statesman that hasn't happened since 1397, which is slightly before the last time we elected a Democrat statewide in Texas. To prepare for this big event, I issued a disaster declaration last month to ensure that our first responders have the resources necessary and the abilities to protect health, safety, and welfare of all of our residents and visitors, especially to help our emergency vehicles and first responders get around the day of, and to position ourselves to provide aid and assistance if needed. The mayor and I organized a call earlier, I guess last week, with all the different jurisdictions, all the emergency managers kind of across Travis County and the region, because for big events like this, it's more important than ever to work regionally in partnership with all these different jurisdictions. And that call was an opportunity for the different emergency services folks to check in with each other, to hear what everybody is doing, and to make adjustments as needed. Want to emphasize that this is just a precaution, the whole disaster declaration, to make sure our first responders and public safety officials are able to better manage traffic and crowds as we anticipate more people in the unincorporated areas of Travis County than normal. This is where the path of the totality of the total solar eclipse will take place for the longest period of time. Our emergency management team has been working with multiple partner agencies at the local and state level to make sure that we're all ready and prepared. We want everybody in the area to have a great time, to come visit Austin and Travis County, but we also want them to be safe and manage their expectations regarding travel and traffic in the area on April 8th. So the bottom line is be early or plan to be late. I'm personally ready with my solar eclipse viewing glasses, and I personally can't wait to experience this for the first time in my lifetime, seeing it from one of our Travis County parks. For more information on solar eclipse viewing safety, you can go to our website, traviscountytx.gov/total solar eclipse, and follow our Travis County Emergency Services on social media. I will now pass this on. Is it Ken? All right, Ken.
Thank you,
Judge.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ken Snipes, and I am the Director of Austin's Homeland Security and Emergency Management Office. The eclipse that you've heard so much about is now less than a week away. We are expecting an influx of people who will be drawn to our area to experience the eclipse as well as other events in our area. People in Austin are coming. People are coming to Austin to take advantage of a number of events that you've heard about. We have. It's going to be a very busy weekend. We have a soccer match at Q2 Stadium. We have the Rosedale Ride. We have the Cap 10K race, and country music, the CMT Awards, among other events that are happening that weekend. We are preparing for visitor impact similar to the scale of what we would normally see over a weekend of F1 or the Spring Festival. Hotel occupancy is currently averaging around 77% from Saturday through Monday night in the downtown area. And over the same period, hotel rates are up by 48% over this time last year. We are asking everyone to expect impacts. Plan your travel in advance. Expect delays and long travel times. Consider avoiding or rescheduling non-essential travel or telework if possible. If you need to take care of routine activities like refueling or getting groceries, we ask that you do so in advance. Another point that we want to make is because it will be so crowded here, or the possibility of it being so is very prevalent, we want to ask people to be aware that you could have or experience interruptions in cell service. During major events like this, it is possible that cell carriers may be overloaded, so your cell service might be impacted. During those times, if you experience this, text messages may have more success than a call. If you need emergency assistance during this time and you don't have cell service, you can also text 911. Make plans with your family if you're out experiencing one of the many events that are taking place across our region, to have a plan in case you lose contact with your family. Establish a safe meeting area in advance, and this is also a good practice outside of the eclipse as well. Homeland Security and Emergency Management has coordinated information between city departments and with partner agencies across the region. The Emergency Operations Center will be open to support this event. Our focus is to support first responders if needed. We are working with Travis County Amateur Radio Service to make sure that we have backup radio availability if needed. And I will close on a couple of safety notes. To safely watch the eclipse and to protect yourself from injury, never look directly at an eclipse without eye protection. Eye protection must be certified to meet ISO international standards and should be free of scratches. Regular sunglasses, and I repeat, regular sunglasses are not enough. You should also never look at the sun through a telescope or a camera lens. To get more information about the eclipse and how to participate, you may go to www.readycentraltexas.org/eclipse. Again, that's www.readycentraltexas.org/eclipse. And you can also find language available in 14 different languages on our alerts page at austintexas.gov/alerts. Again, that's austintexas.gov/alerts. And now we'll turn it over to my counterpart, Chief of Travis County Emergency Management Office, Eric Carter.
Thanks, Ken. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Hopefully the weather will be beautiful like this next week, but we'll be prepared if it isn't. Just a couple of things. Our efforts for the eclipse have been focused primarily on making sure that folks out and about on that day, that morning, through that weekend, handle it, have a good time, but do so safely. Our local departments have been focused on basically park safety. We have a string of beautiful parks, not just in the city of Austin, but out in the county. And we want to make sure our guests are in those parks, enjoying their experience and doing so in a safe manner. We're also focused on the transportation networks that are going on that carry the traffic through our area. We've been working with both the city of Austin, TxDOT, and others, just to make sure we're all in sync about the flow and how we can best support each other, as Ken said, support our first responders if we need to move left, right, north, south, whatever's called for. And of course, we're just looking at public safety. So we've taken a lot of measures to enhance the ability of our ESDs, our Travis County Sheriff's Office, and other first responder agencies, just to continue to deliver services in what is an unticketed event, right? A major event going on in our area. We're going to do our best. We've done our best to anticipate the needs and provide the resources to do that. So just a little note for residents, that's a good point. We've constantly talked about the traveling public coming through our area. Can't state it enough. If you want to see the eclipse, you can walk out your front door, hopefully with glasses now, and look up. It's coming over most of the area of Travis County, so you don't necessarily need to travel. If you do want to gather with friends, family, then take the judge's note, right? Travel early or plan to be late. Can't predict what the traffic's going to be like. Key note, again, and Ken kind of hit you with it, services that are designed around population. It's critical that you understand you could have some disruptions, whether temporary or otherwise. So be prepared for that. Our small businesses, food trucks, we got a lot of them in the region, right? You might, if all you depend on is your cellular service to take payments, you might want to have ability to do cash transactions with your customers if you experience a disruption. Not saying that you will, but be prepared. Be prepared, not scared, have a good time, have fun, and that's what we're here to ensure. So that's all I have. Thank you, everybody, and I'll turn it over to the next speaker. Thank you, Mark.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Martin Ritchie. I'm the Director of Homeland Security for the Capital Area Council of Governments, which includes the 10 counties that make up the Austin metro region. Our western counties have been working overtime because, of course, they're going to be in the area of totality the most. That would include Llano, Blanco, Burnett, Hayes, and, of course, the western part of Williamson and Travis will be most impacted. The other counties, which include Lee, Fayette, Caldwell, they're going to have a substantial issue related to potential issue with traffic. We began our planning with our Homeland Security Task Force, which comprised of 28 senior appointed officials from fire and emergency management some 2 years ago. So for the past 2 years, we've been preparing. And this really stepped up this last year in September, where we had a summit with some 80 of these folks getting together at our headquarters. That included also representatives from the Texas Division of Emergency Management, TxDOT, Texas Parks and Wildlife, and many other very important stakeholders. So I think that the rest of the speakers have already pressed home all the safety considerations. We would like to also have everybody have a great eclipse. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event. And I'm going to turn it over to my colleague at the National Weather Service, Paul Ura.
Good afternoon. I'm Paul Ura with the National Weather Service office out of New Braunfels, Texas. First off, I just want to talk a little bit about the science of an eclipse. The total solar eclipse is actually occurring when the moon is passing in between the sun and the earth, completely blocking the face of the sun. Those that are in the path of totality will actually see the sun's corona. This is something of the sun's atmosphere that we normally can't see just because of the brightness of the sun. The path of totality will roughly be about 115 miles wide, with totality lasting almost 4.5 minutes depending on your location. Further out into the hill country, to the west of Austin and Travis County, is where they'll have 4 to 4.5 minutes worth of totality. Here in the Austin area, longest would be about 2 minutes in portions of the city. In other parts of the city, maybe not at all. In this park where we're talking right now, about 1 minute of totality. The eclipse will begin just around noontime next Monday on April 8th, reach totality at roughly about 1:37 p.m., and the eclipse will then finish roughly at around 3 p.m. So it's not just those few minutes of totality. The eclipse actually lasts almost about 3 hours from beginning to end. So the weather forecast. That's obviously what is really, really important when we talk about viewing the eclipse. There's good news and bad news. The bad news is that the weather pattern that the models are actually showing kind of is a pattern that tends to give us at least some clouds and even chances of rain. And so our actual official forecast for the Austin area right now for Monday are carrying clouds and actually carrying a small chance of rain. The good news with that is that obviously the forecast can change a lot, and it does very frequently, especially as we get into the springtime, like in April where we are. And even if it is cloudy, there are still some viewing possibilities with clouds, especially if we just have high clouds coming in. Usually from past experiences with eclipses, the eclipses are actually still viewable. One thing we have to really kind of watch is the low clouds. We get a lot of low clouds, very thick clouds in the morning, especially in the springtime. If we have a lot of that cloudiness, then that may actually hamper some of our viewing. So we're still 6 days away. There's a lot of change in the forecast that's probably going to happen. And so I would say just kind of keep track of the forecast daily and just watch the forecast evolve as we get toward Monday. So with that, I'm going to turn over to Baylor Johnson with the Austin Public Library.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Baylor Johnson. I'm the Public Information and Marketing Program Manager for Austin Public Library. And at Austin Public Library, our mission is to inspire all to discover, learn, and create. And what an incredible opportunity we have to do all three of those things with a once-in-a-lifetime phenomenon like a total solar eclipse coming up next week. So to help Central Texas prepare for this once-in-a-lifetime event, Austin Public Library is hosting a series of events in the lead-up to the eclipse, distributing eclipse glasses to the public, and hosting watch parties at 9 locations in the path of totality. All of the information about these programs and events are available on the library's website at library.austintexas.gov/eclipse. So first of all, in the lead up to the eclipse, beginning a few weeks ago and continuing all the way until Monday, APL locations have been hosting astronomy-themed programming for all ages, including a traveling planetarium show to teach families and kids all about the eclipse. We've also partnered with the NASA Jet Propulsion Library to invite a group of NASA scientists to lead a series of talks beginning today at libraries throughout the city, covering themes including sky watching, backyard astronomy, and Mars exploration. Then starting on Friday, April 5th at the Central Library, we will be hosting NASA scientists and science displays and a collection of NASA exhibits in the demonstration area at the Central Library, where the public is invited to check out these interactive displays and information about the upcoming Sunrise mission and live viewings of the sun through a special solar telescope. Then on the day of the eclipse, 9 APL locations will be hosting watch parties. Those locations are the Cepeda branch, the Menchaca branch, the North Village branch, Old Quarry branch, Pleasant Hill branch, Twin Oaks branch, Willie Mae Kirk branch, Windsor branch, and the Central Library. All of these events will include crafts and activities for all ages and are a great opportunity to gather with a group of people to watch the eclipse close to home. So you don't have to travel far. You can visit one of your neighborhood libraries to be with people and learn about the eclipse. The Central Library's Eclipse Watch Party, besides the previously mentioned NASA displays, will also feature speakers from the Jet Propulsion Library, live music, and will also be featured on NASA's live stream from locations all along the path of the totality. Also, APL has teamed up with Cap Metro to provide free digital bus passes for people to travel to library eclipse watch parties. And the deadline to request a pass is Thursday, April 4th at 4 p.m. Lastly, Austin Public Library locations will also be distributing solar glasses to the public. Our distribution begins Thursday, April 4th, while supplies last. Eclipse glasses are going to be limited to 2 per person and are available in person only on a first-come, first-served basis. We're unable to fulfill group requests and we cannot reserve glasses. Information about available stock and any locations that have run out of glasses will be updated regularly and posted on the library's Eclipse webpage, which once again is library.austintexas.gov/eclipse. If a branch does run out, we will not be able to replenish our supplies. However, a limited number of glasses will still be held in reserve at the 9 locations that are hosting Eclipse watch parties on Monday. We are thrilled to be able to provide resources for the community to do all three of those things that are in the APL mission, inspiring people to discover, learn, and create. And we hope that Central Texans have an exciting and safe time experiencing this incredible phenomenon. And up next, I'd like to welcome Jessica from the Parks and Recreation Department.
Good afternoon. I'm Jessica Gilza from the Austin Parks and Recreation Department, Nature-Based Programs Manager. I have a little bit of good news about the weather. During eclipses, there is a thing called convection that typically burns off clouds. So right now, we do see clouds, as was said earlier, but typically the clouds burn off. So don't get discouraged if you go out there and it's a cloudy morning. There's still an opportunity for us to see the eclipse. And even if there are clouds, you will experience some things that are happening because of the eclipse, regardless of those clouds. Temperatures will drop 10 to 15 degrees, and it will get darker. So you can still have the experience. Yes, we're all hoping for sunny, beautiful blue skies like today, but it's still gonna happen. All right, as you've heard before, we want you to stay in place. Do not travel if you don't have to. So if you have a good, safe place where you can view the southeastern sky at about 60 degrees above you, then you don't need to leave where you are on that day. If you are not able to be in a safe location, please consider a local park. Find a local park where you can go. We want to encourage you to ride your bike, take a walk, hop on a pogo stick, get over to one of those parks. Also, we want you to know that PART has identified some parks as viewing locations. You can look on the Parks and Recreation Department's Eclipse webpage for more information about those locations. And thanks to having a world-class research university here in Austin, the University of Texas has provided 12 telescopes with solar filters. There will be one in each council district, along with staff. This is an opportunity to provide everyone in our community to have an experience seeing the sun and the eclipse close up. They've also provided help with eclipse glasses, and the Parks and Recreation Department also has some secondary viewing bookmarks that you guys can use and get at the Nature Center and at the recreation centers in advance and on the day of. I also want to say a special thanks to the Hill Country Alliance Night Sky Program Manager for providing specialized eclipse training to many of our staff members to provide them education on the eclipse that they can share with our community members, and showed them how to use the telescopes and the solar filters on the day of the eclipse. And we want you to just remember that when the eclipse is over, your learning doesn't have to be over. There are going to be additional programs that will be provided through the Parks and Recreation Department and other organizations that are here locally that want you to get education about what's happening in our night sky and our daytime sky. And we hope that you'll help keep our parks and our city clean. We are providing eclipse glasses recycling bins at all of the recreation centers, the senior centers, the cultural centers, and the Austin Nature and Science Center and the branch libraries. Those recycling bins, when you put your undamaged eclipse glasses, they will become part of the Astronomers Without Borders program, and they will be reused by communities who have less resources at the next eclipse. Because although eclipse coming here in our town is rare, it happens about every year and a half. There's an eclipse somewhere. And not all the communities have the same resources that we have, so we're going to share the resources that we have and make it a more sustainable experience. Also, as the library has mentioned, the Parks and Recreation Department at the Austin Nature and Science Center is having members from the NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab providing programming, providing speakers on different topics, including eclipses on other planets. And there will be a scale model of the Mars rover that will be roaming the grounds of the Austin Nature and Science Center on Saturday and Sunday. So come out and visit us there, and also maybe get a chance to go into our planetarium. And the last thing is, they mentioned that we're going to have cell service issues, so I'm going to give you this tip that we would love to hear about your eclipse experience. So you can use hashtag Total Eclipse ATX, and we will be collecting those comments, or you can send your photos and information to totaleclipse@austintexas.gov, and we'll take those comments and photos and we'll put them together for a time capsule that we'll put into place next year in April. But don't send those during the eclipse. You don't need to send your video. You don't need to upload to social media. Take a moment. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see something that you would not get to see otherwise without traveling. So the next total eclipse that's happening is in 2026. It's going to touch the top of Spain. It's going to go through a tiny eastern edge of Iceland and the western side of Greenland. So those folks that here in our community that want to see the next total eclipse and be in the path of totality are going to have to go to one of those places and travel. And we need to remember that we're lucky here that almost everyone in this city, no matter where they are, no matter what their resources are going to have an opportunity to experience this phenomenal wonder of nature. So go outside, even if it's cloudy, take a chance to go and see this. And if you can't see the sun, experience what it feels like. Listen for the animals as they start to think that it's night and start to the crickets are chirping and the birds are starting to go home, and enjoy that moment. Take your pictures if you must with a solar filter. Upload them to social media later. All right. I hope to see y'all all out at some of our programs, and be safe. And if you have any questions, the Parks and Recreation Department is here as a resource to answer some of those questions. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Brad Wheelis with the Texas Department of Transportation. I am here to repeat everything you just heard. So how lucky are we to experience such a rare event here in the Austin area? We're not going to be alone. We expect 1 million or more people to visit the state of Texas to see the eclipse. And that's going to mean a substantial increase in traffic volumes on our major corridors, from Laredo to Paris, Texas. Here in Austin, I-35, SH-71, US 290, US 183, our major corridors could see gridlock. And because the Hill Country is a prime spot for viewing, they could see standstill traffic as well. At TxDOT, safety is always our top priority. Our job is to keep the roadways open before, during, and after the eclipse. Open, however, does not always mean flowing. So our State Emergency Management Operations Center will be up and running. Our local district EOCs will also be open during this event. One of the things we want to remind folks to do is enjoy the eclipse, but do it in a safe manner. So our crews will be out on Monday, making sure they can respond to any major incidents. Emphasis on the path of totality. So things they'll be looking for is stalled vehicles in the lanes of traffic, also traffic signal issues that we may experience. Some guidelines for drivers. Be prepared to spend some time in traffic because you will. Do not stop on the roadway to view the eclipse. Do not park on the shoulder, and stay off the right-of-way to avoid damaging our beautiful wildflowers or sparking a wildfire. Drive with your headlights on. Make sure that other drivers see you, and look out for pedestrians who may be preoccupied with eclipse activities. Keep your eyes on the road and not the eclipse. And I can't believe I've got to say this, but do not drive with your eclipse glasses on. It is dangerous and you can't see anything anyway. So that's our big advice. Finally, to help prevent gridlock, arrive early, stay put, and leave late. Now I want to introduce Sam Haynes with Austin Bergstrom International Airport.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sam Haynes with Austin Bergstrom International Airport. Austin Bergstrom is ready to welcome travelers visiting our region for the eclipse. And now we've spent a lot of time talking about April 8th, the day of the eclipse, but I want to chat a little bit about April 9th. This is when all of the visitors that are coming to our region into Central Texas to see the eclipse will be returning home, and many of them will be using our airport. We're expecting that day to exceed levels that we would typically see during this time of year. And in fact, our rental car operators have let us know that they are 100% fully booked for available rental cars on April 8th. On April 9th, they are fully booked for reservations, exceeding that of their 100% inventory. So many travelers are taking this opportunity to rent vehicles in other parts of the country. They are driving down to Austin, and then on April 9th are returning those rental vehicles to fly home. So if you are flying out the day after the eclipse, it's imperative that you arrive early, give yourself plenty of time, and plan ahead, especially if you need to return a rental vehicle, if you need to check your luggage, or complete any other activities prior to joining the TSA security line. We typically advise travelers to arrive to the terminal at least 2.5 hours prior to boarding for domestic flights and at least 3 hours early for international flights. But if you are returning a rental car or you need extra time, please give yourself plenty of time to safely and comfortably make it through all of the necessary activities before you make it to your gate. Additionally, the Federal Aviation Administration, which oversees the national airspace system and oversees our local airport air traffic control tower, has shared that pilots, flight crew, and passengers for both commercial aviation and general aviation, which are private aircraft, should expect delays at about 50 airports across the country. This does include Austin Bergstrom International Airport. Travelers should keep an eye on their flight status and connect directly with their airline for any flight questions or concerns. Our Austin Bergstrom Department of Aviation teams have been coordinating with our partners across the airport, and we stand ready to welcome travelers to our community. We're proactively activating our Department Operations Center, and our AUS event response teams will ensure that we have welcoming, friendly faces, all hands on deck in the terminal to support our customers as they travel through our facility. In conclusion, travelers can visit flyaustin.com for comprehensive tips, tricks, and airport maps. And with that, I'd like to reintroduce Mayor Watson to close us out.
Well, as you can tell, there's a lot of energy and work that's gone into having us prepared. I want to say thank you to everybody that's here, all the members of the media that are going to be getting information out there, because frankly we can't get it out there without you, and we want everybody to have a wonderful opportunity here and do it in a way that's safe. With that said, unless Judge Brown has something else to say, I'll open it up and see if anybody's got any questions. We have experts here that did not speak, believe it or not, and but you can ask them questions too, and we can make sure that we have answers for you. Judge, you want to say anything else until we get questions?
No, open for questions. Thank you.
Anybody got questions?
When you all say arrive early and leave late, what time frame are we talking here?
Well, common sense plays a role in that, right? The number one message everybody ought to have is that we're expecting a whole lot of people, and so if you're going to a park, which we encourage, we hope people do, as you can tell, both at the county and at the city, people are we're wanting people to come out and enjoy this. That's a part of the neat thing that's happening in Austin and Travis County. But know that you're not the only one that had the idea. In fact, we're encouraging everybody to have the idea. But what that may mean is if you wanted to be there, at a certain point in time, you might want to try to get there an hour earlier. And let me ask, has anybody's got anything more specific than that? Yes, you want.
Can I make a suggestion?
Please, come on. That's why you're here.
All right.
Save the mayor.
All right. I'd like to make a suggestion that park staff is going to be in place at 11 a.m. Between 11 a.m. and 12 p.m. with those telescopes, because it does start right around 12 p.m. So you want to get there before that. Yes, the totality part, which everybody is really excited for, doesn't happen until a little bit after 1. But you want to get in place and you want to stay there. The good thing is that eclipses only happen on new moons, which means we won't have a moon in the night sky. So if you want to take your picnic or you want to take something and stay there, you should have some good star watching ability in those parks afterwards. Also, just from 2017, astronomers who were traveling from here in Austin and they were in Wyoming. They were talking about going from one city in Wyoming to another that was supposed to take about 2 hours. It was about 200 miles. It took them 10 hours. So it's a reminder that...
And I'm sorry, what state was that in?
Wyoming.
Wyoming. Okay.
I don't know if you've heard of it. This being the 10th largest city in the nation, and with all the things that are happening, I think we can really expect for people to be there and traffic to be absolutely nuts, but also think about using Capital Metro's free rides, because they are offering free rides to locations throughout the city if you plan them. And of course, you can always walk to your neighborhood park or stay in your backyard.
Go ahead, please.
And I think the thing that I've heard that happened in the last eclipse somewhere, maybe it was that one she's talking about, is that people arrive, it takes, over 3 days. They get here on Saturday, they get here on Sunday, maybe they get to the place they're going on Monday, but everybody leaves at the same time. So if you can hang out wherever it is that you're watching the eclipse, plan on doing it for a couple hours, maybe let traffic die down if it's going to. If you're camping somewhere, maybe camp an extra night. That is what I've heard is the biggest strain on the traffic part is right after. So try to make plans to where maybe you're not part of that traffic problem.
So hour to hours early, and plan on hours leaving late. Other questions?
Yeah,
Go here and then we'll go
concerned
over
about cell service might be interrupted, obviously, because so many people are going to hit those towers. Are there any other services that you think might be having challenges, like, I don't know, gas stations having enough gas, that sort of thing?
That's where I was going to go.
I think a wise thing would be to, fill up your tank ahead of time, get, groceries ahead of time. We don't anticipate any problems there, but it's always a smart thing to do to have a full tank of gas before you head out to watch the eclipse.
Yeah, the bottom line to it is, I'll use the words again, common sense. What we're expressing here is a lot of folks are going to be in town. And that means a lot of cars will be in town. They'll be using gas, those kinds of things. So just prepare in advance. But otherwise, cell service, gasoline, we're not anticipating any real problems. It's just a large number of people wishing to take part in a pretty tremendous event. Yes, B.
I know there are a lot of people, especially the people renting the cars and stuff, they're eclipse chasers, watchers. They come in and then they're prepared to follow the sunshine wherever it leads. And they'll go hundreds of miles from Austin if they think they have a better chance at sunshine and these kind of skies. Do y'all feel like that's going to be a big issue with Austin and the weather forecast and just that mobility and strain that could have on traffic?
Maybe let's get the weather guy, but yeah, I think that's where it really becomes unknown. We're making plans for people to be kind of in place, and we're suggesting that. But like you said, yeah, if the weather does something weird, we could expect more traffic.
Right, and a lot depends on that pattern that day. If it turns out that North Texas has got the best viewing, again, I don't know how many people will literally move that far of a distance. That's kind of the unknown. As you kind of know around here, I mean, literally there could be, that morning or that afternoon, spots of openness, right, where you may only be able to, drive 70 or 80 miles, but how you stay ahead of that, I mean, weather changes all the time, clouds change all the time too, so that seems like a very tall task to ask most people, right, to become mobile and to try to find a place to view the eclipse. So the experts that do this all the time, maybe they have a way of doing it very easily, but for the most part, most of the citizens, the safe thing is to find a place where you're going to be, go to that place, and then, yeah, we have to have some good luck here in trying to get some good eclipse viewing with the cloud cover.
Good.
Thank you.
How about one more question?
Yeah.
No? Well, anyway.
Awesome. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate the partnership with the city, and we'll see y'all on April 8th or 9th.
Good viewing. Yeah. Bye-bye, everybody.